Good evening, my name is Kacper Paradowski and you are watching Poland Daily News. Today is the first Sunday of Advent. This day also marks the beginning of a new liturgical year in the Catholic Church. As each year, Advent will end in a few weeks on Christmas Eve. The liturgical period of Advent begins. It is a joyful time of waiting for the second coming of Jesus and a time for preparation for Christmas. This year, Advent takes place in a changed form due to the pandemic. The Church stresses, however, that the faithful should undertake spiritual preparations. The whole liturgical year is very important for Christians. Advent can be especially important because it is the time to get closer to God. Mainly, Advent and Lent are two such moments during the year when the Church invites us to reflect upon ourselves and at our relationship with Lord Jesus. Priests encourage the faithful to confess and receive the sacraments. In parishes where spiritual retreats have not been cancelled, they are organized at several different times or broadcast online. It is important to note that even at 7 a.m. there are many people gathering for a Mass. That is why we decided to organize traditional retreats, even though fewer people will be able to attend. They will be taking place from the third Sunday of Advent. Today, the first of the 4 Advent candles was lit in churches, symbolizing the first week of Advent. A traditional custom, often forgotten by young people, are Roret Masses, during which the faithful rediscover the Lord Jesus overcoming human darkness. Dominican friar Stanisław Tasiemski reminds us that the main patron saint of Advent is Our Lady. The Roret Masses are prayers to Mary, Mother of Jesus. She is the one who bore the Son of God and she guides us in our spiritual preparations and search. Each year, Caritas candles are distributed as a part of Christmas Eve preparations. They will be distributed this year as well. The funds collected will go to hundreds of thousands of children from poor families. Many political commentators are still criticizing the speech given on Friday by the Marshal of the Senate, Tomasz Grodzki. The Marshal criticized the stance of the Polish government regarding the EU budget, as well as its veto of the linking of the budget to the rule of law. In his speech, the Marshal of the Senate from the opposition accused Poland and Hungary of disregarding the democratic rule of law and described the actions of the Polish government as dangerous. He also described the announcement of the Polish veto regarding the EU budget as being the turning point in our history. I appeal to the government officials. Please return to obeying the rule of law and the conflict with the European Union will go away on its own. MEPs from the ruling Law and Justice Party, Zbigniew Kuźmiuk, described Grodzki's words as scandalous. In his opinion, the standpoint of the Marshal is in direct opposition of the stance of the government, especially given the fact that the negotiations are ongoing. It's an absolute scandal. Firstly, the Marshal of the Senate has no right to comment on foreign matters in such a way. Secondly, what he said was in total opposition of the standpoint of the government. According to Professor Krysiak, the president of the Schumann Institute, this speech is only strengthening the position of Germany and weakening the voice of the Polish government. Marshal unfortunately gives away arguments to the other side, at the same time showing that there are some Poles who think otherwise, thus undermining the position of Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. Other politicians let Grodzki have it on Twitter. Mr. Grodzki, take off your German uniform and start thinking like a Pole. Betrayal in its purest form. It felt like a speech from a foreign and not a Polish politician with only a Polish translation. Shame on you, Mr. Marshal. Meanwhile, Tomasz Sakiewicz called the speech lawless. We are dealing with complete lawlessness. The last time we had something like that, Poland was petitioned. Political commentators are mostly united in saying that such statements from Polish officials weakened the negotiation position of Poland at the talks regarding the future EU budget. Now let's take a look at the latest data on the epidemiological situation in Poland. In the last 24 hours, 11,483 new cases of coronavirus infections were reported in Poland. This brings the total number of infections to 985,075. According to the Ministry of Health, 283 new deaths from COVID-19 and pre-existing conditions were reported, and 17,029 patients have died since the beginning of the pandemic. Today, the Polish Army celebrates Cadets' Day. The holiday was established to commemorate the events of the 29th of November, 1830. On that day, the outbreak of the November Uprising began with an attack of a group of non-commissioned officers from the Warsaw Infantry Cadet School on the Belvedere, which is the residence of the governor of the Polish Kingdom, Grand Duke Konstantin Romanov. Today's celebrations, which took place in the courtyard of the Belvedere, were attended by President Andrzej Duda and Minister of National Defense Mariusz Błaszczak. The minister wished the cadets perseverance in their efforts to gain knowledge, further success and honor for being an officer of the Polish Army. Shopping centres have reopened in Poland this weekend. Following the government's decision to lift some restrictions, malls are to be open until Christmas. Additionally, consumers will be able to do shopping on 3 Sundays in December. For the last 3 weeks, all stores in the shopping malls, barring grocery stores and pharmacies, have been closed. Although the epidemic continues, the economy must develop. We can fight the epidemic by closing the economy completely and locking everyone in their homes. Unfortunately, then there would be no money for treatment. December is an extremely important month. There are many stores that make 30 to 40% of their annual turnover just in a few weeks of December. If they were closed in December, there would probably be nothing to open later. The stores would not survive. What do Warsaw residents think about opening stores in malls? I try to avoid shopping malls and large stores. I order everything online with home delivery.
Since they've already closed the stores, they should keep them closed until everything stabilizes.
More harm is done because everything is now closed. People lose their jobs.
I'll go anywhere. You can't be so afraid of everything.
If we are careful, everything will be fine. The stores can now accommodate 1 person per 15 square meters. Wearing masks and hours for seniors from 10 to 12 is still valid. That is all for tonight. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for Poland Daily Business. Good night.